What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Team Member Perspective podcast show. I'm your host, Coulter, and we're going to talk about product knowledge today. And I want to share my take on product knowledge, what I see product knowledge do for people, and how sometimes product knowledge can hinder people. Okay, and so this is all just from my experience as a team member and what I have seen. And, as being a team member for 6 years and for the last 4, consistently writing over 200 life a year, 100 plus health as well, and doing PNC at a decent level. This is just stuff that I have found for myself, but also what I've seen now that I'm, getting an inside look into many different agencies across the country and what I see successful agencies do in regards to product knowledge versus what, maybe the average teams are doing or team members are doing with the product knowledge. So I think product knowledge is important. Okay. Don't get me wrong. Product knowledge is very important. You need to know the product that you're selling. I'm just going to throw that out there before I throw a few different things to think about. Product knowledge is important. I've always said that there's 3 areas that we should focus on with our training for the most part. Okay, the first one is obviously you need to know your product. To be able to sell the product, you need to know the product. Second one is you need to know how to sell the product. And the third part is going to be your quoting and application, right? And the reason I say those 3 things as far as training goes is because if you don't understand the product, that's an easy out for you. You're not going to probably talk about it. Okay, and it might be harder for you to sell. Second one is if you don't know how to sell the product, you don't know how to be convincing, you don't know how to use, effective communication and sales skills to help persuade. If you don't know how to sell it, it might be hard for you to sell it, right? So training should be focused on sales skills, developing sales skills, as well as the product knowledge. And then the third piece is quoting and doing the applications. Because think about it. If you know the product and you know how to sell it, but you don't know how to do the application or quote it, how likely are you to bring up life insurance with someone? You're almost scared if they say yes because you don't know where to go next. Okay. And so those are the 3 areas of training that, I generally will focus on: product knowledge, sales training, and the quoting and application, right? And obviously the quoting and application you can figure out pretty quickly. But if you're a new team member, that's going to be something that probably is going to be in your mind, whether you realize it or not, that could prevent you from having conversations with customers. So get familiar with your systems, get very familiar with your quoting tool, and as well as the application, so that's not an out for you. Then these other 2, product knowledge and sales training, I find that a lot of trainings are, really focused in on product and developing product knowledge. And it makes sense logically. The more I understand about the product, the more I will be able to talk in a convincing way about my product to other people. The more I can tell them about all of these different things, the more tools I have in my tool belt when talking about the product. And I want to come across as an expert. And the way to do that is to just know the product like the back of my hand, right? Know every piece of the product so I can tell the customer every piece to that product. Right? I understand why it makes sense to spend a lot of time in product training. And again, like I said, it's important, okay? However, here's my take on it. I think we focus too much on product training and not enough on prospect training. You in your agency, you as a team member in your agency, or maybe you're just getting started, we create this story in our mind that we're not able to be successful and we're not able to sell, let alone sell at a high level, until we understand the product, until we are comfortable, 100% comfortable with the product, until we know everything about the term life insurance products, the whole life insurance products, and the universal life insurance products. Until we understand those really well and we're confident there, we're not going to have conversations because we don't want to look like we don't know what we're talking about. We don't want to be imposters, right? I get it. Okay. But here's what I want you to think about. Instead of focusing so much on product, and again, there's time and place for product, we need to focus more on the prospect. Okay. When we're talking product all of the time, I think it kind of trains ourselves to start to look at features. And that starts to come off when we're talking to our customers. It all of a sudden becomes, we blast them with all these features of this product. Hey, Mr. Customer, this one won't ever, doesn't ever expire. It's never ending. This one also comes with this rider that will pay the insurance premiums if yada, yada, yada. And, this other one, it only lasts for 10 years, but we have another one that lasts for 20. Oh, and did I mention we have another one that lasts for 30? Oh, and have I told you about the other whole life insurance policy? It's called Universal Life. That one's cool because it lasts forever, but you can have flexibility. Guys, that's what starts to happen in my eyes when we focus too much on product. You start to get to a point where it's like you almost know too much. Becomes analysis paralysis for customers. If you are listening to that, whether you're in insurance or not, that's probably hard to follow what I was just going through. It becomes very confusing. And when you come across as confusing and there's too much information, that's when the analysis paralysis comes into play, where it's people really need to think about this decision because there's so many different options for them. And now they want to make sure they're doing the right thing. They want to make sure that they even want this, right? It becomes hard for them to do, right? So I think we focus too much on product knowledge. We start to vomit the features at our customers instead of focusing on the benefits, right? So instead of talking so much to your customers about the features, let's just switch that and start to talk to them about the benefits. Hey, Mr. Customer, this policy is never going to expire. Like you've had with other policies, this one will last you forever. So it's something you will use, right? There's the benefit. So it's something you will use. Oh, and Mr. Customer, this policy, it's a 20-year policy. Instead of that, maybe it's, hey, Mr. Customer, this program will protect your income for the next 20 years while your kids are growing up. So if something happens in that, crucial time that and you were to pass away prematurely, that your family has your income still, that it's still replaced. That's a benefit. That's what it does for them. Okay. And so I think sometimes focus too much on product knowledge that we start to hyper focus on the features. And I think it honestly, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, we start to focus on the features and get away from the benefits. And as we know, people will buy the benefits. They don't care about the features. I mean, it becomes simple and people want to buy stuff that changes their life or how it's going to benefit me. What's in it for me? We're selfish, guys. So what's in it for me with this life policy instead of telling me all the features about it? A good analogy I like to use is with in regards to features or benefits. I like to think of, your car's AC system. Okay. So if we think about let's talk about the features of this AC unit, right? Well, you're going to get water that comes in, it's sucked in, and it goes through this compressor, and then it blows through these cold coils, and then out comes cold air. Okay. Now, if you're a mechanic and you're like, Coulter, that's not how it works, you still get the point, right? We're talking about the features of how it works, where if I were to tell you that, trying to sell you an AC unit, how convincing would that be? Okay, cool. But why don't we just say, hey, when it's hot outside, you get in your car and it's cool. There's the benefits, right? That's what's in it for me. And so again, I don't think focusing on product knowledge is bad, but just you don't need to know every detail about the product to sell it. I feel that as long as you know what your product will do for your customer, and that's all you need to know, right? Sometimes also when we know so much about the product, it becomes easy to make the conversation very high level with our customers that are honestly have a low level of understanding of insurance. And so there becomes this gap and your customers can't relate to what you're saying, and which means they don't really feel like a life insurance policy is for them, right? Because you're talking at a level that they can't really understand or relate with, right? So sometimes product knowledge just gets us to that higher level conversation. We don't even know it. And all of a sudden we're like, why am I not selling life insurance? It's because we forgot to keep it simple, to keep it at that level where our customers can understand. And honestly, what I've liked to think of is if I can keep this as simple enough For a third grader to understand what it does, I know I'm doing a good job at keeping it that simple, right? Insurance is complex. Don't overcomplicate it for your customers, because I'll tell you, if they feel like it's confusing or if they feel like it's complicated, they will not buy. People will buy when it's simple and they know what it does for them. So spend your time there. Keep it simple. And I think the easiest way to keep it simple is to focus on what the product will do for your customer. That's my 2 cents on the product knowledge. But again, it is one of the 3 areas of training that I've focused on for the last 6 years. How am I with product? Like, do I feel like over the last month, is there a lack of product knowledge? If so, which products? And let's go learn a little bit more about them, especially if you're newer, right? Like, learn a little bit about your product. You need to know the basics of it. So product knowledge is important, but the other piece is sales training. Like, you need to know how to sell it. You need to know how to develop certain sales skills, develop awareness around when to pivot and how to pivot effectively, and then how to transition and move that conversation along into a sales presentation where you can build value, right? You can get the customer thinking about the benefits instead of just the price. And then where we come in and we move it to the close in a very non-pressured way and let the customer choose. And then if we need, we overcome objections, we help and we listen to them. Sales training is very important, okay? And then the last piece is your quoting and your application. Like, you need to make sure you're comfortable with those things, okay? Now, earlier in the episode, I mentioned I think we focus too much on product training and not enough on prospect training, okay? And I think this prospect training and understanding your customer falls in the sales training category. The better that you can understand your customer, the more edge you're going to have with them. The more easily you're going to be able to enter the conversation already happening in their mind. For example, wouldn't it be helpful to know as a salesperson that if you answer an inbound call and it's a parent calling in to add their young driver to their household, wouldn't it be important and helpful to know and keep top of mind that that parent is probably thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be a lot of money. And as well as, oh my gosh, my 16-year-old is getting behind the wheel. I am nervous as can be. Don't you feel like those 2 pieces of information are helpful to know as you go into a conversation with your customer? Totally. So the more that we understand about our customers, specifically at certain points of their life, maybe when they buy a new car and they get a loan, don't you want to know that they're a little inherently stressed about that debt that they just took, as well as this monthly payment? And that monthly payment is probably stretching them. Wouldn't it be helpful to know that? Guys, again, the more we understand about the prospect and the prospect's problems, the better we will be and the more policies we will sell. So I personally feel spend more of your training time focusing on the prospect and understanding the prospect better, as well as learning how to communicate effectively and use strategy in your conversations with your customers. Spend more of your training time there and less in your product knowledge, and watch what happens. And guys, that's exactly what we do in the team member perspective. Is we work on our sales skills, our communication skills. We work on developing awareness around the best times and the easiest times to bring up our life insurance products, to bring up our health insurance products, all in a way that's very natural, to where you as a team member and the customer, the prospect, no one feels like selling is happening. You as a team member, you're not going to feel like a salesperson, but also the prospect isn't going to feel like they're going to be sold, because we work a lot on getting the customer's guard down, using strategy, using psychology and sales skills and communication skills to effectively communicate belief into our prospects so that they can understand why it's important and why they should do it. They should, help them understand what the problem is, but also be the source of the solution for them and help them see the benefits, help them see why this is important for them and why this is so crucial that we get this right, because of what could potentially happen. That's what we do in the team member perspective, is we focus in on those things. We help team members, both brand new as well as tenured and experienced team members, get to that next level, whatever that looks like. And from my experience, working on the sales skills and getting into the details there and understanding the prospect and helping team members understand the prospect better and the prospect's problems. That is when we can get team members to learn those things and practice those things and plug into what we're doing. That's when we're seeing awesome results. We're getting team members all the time that are going from 2 to 3 life apps a month to now consistently 8 to 10, right? Maybe you're the 8 to 10 life app team member right now. This stuff I am confident can help you get to the 15 to 20 range. And I'm so confident in that because I did it. I did it consistently for 4 years. The stuff that we're teaching works. It's proven. And we work on the delivery often because that is where you actually go from, oh, cool strategy of selling all these policies to actually doing it consistently week after week. So come join us. Come develop yourself, develop your sales skills, be around winners, right? Be in a room full of people that are consistently putting up 9+ life apps a month. Our top 10 for the month of October in life apps, at least all had 9 apps and our top had 15. It's becoming a place where top producing team members hang out, where you can plug in, compete, see how you're doing against these other team members, but also learn what's already working for team members all over. So appreciate you guys. Let's make today great. We will catch you next time.